Man, welcome back to another Tuesday in H-Town Unplugged. Look at that, well-fine gentlemen here. We had an amazing conversation after this. They got here early, so we talked a little bit about everything at the conference room. But 14 episode? Damn, 14 episode. And today we're talking about the Moses method and a little bit of more stuff. But you actually talked today in the morning in the other podcast, right?
Yeah, we did.
I saw little clips
that
I think Amber put in there, so I was like, I went and researched myself, and I was in the video you sent me. I looked and I was like, this is to scale your business, and I was still in my head like the Moses method. So I know I'm gonna give it to you so you can start on that. But I'm thankful and grateful that Blue Barrel Tequila, so you can show the tequila, they sponsor the show, as well as Buy Realty. We're here in Buy Realty in the Heights, and like I said, the H-Town Unplugged it's here to stay with an H-Town tequila. Thank you everybody for the TikTok fans, bro. It's growing. We have a lot of fans in TikTok.
Excellent.
They love us now. They love you.
Excellent.
I have a lady that reached out to me that she's like, that's my future husband.
Oh, well, dang.
Yeah, so I need to connect you with her. I mean, I don't know if she's watching, but she told me that. It's like the third time. She thinks that I'm like, have you told him? I was like,
Oh, she's hot.
I let him know. But she's like, I do want to do some business with him. So I'm like, okay. Is that what you want to call business? Oh, man. But thank God that we're all here. And I don't know if you want to start with a prayer before we start.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should always do that.
Go ahead.
Gracious Father, we give you thanks for every day that's given to our lives. We particularly take this moment where we have come together to do a podcast. And this podcast is for people who are out there hopefully looking for something of value for their lives. We ask you to give us wisdom, knowledge, that we may share honestly and truthfully, and that they open their ears to that which you want them to hear. So we ask you to be with us, be with them, and that we offer to this to the glory of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And in his name we pray. Amen.
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 Amen. Yeah, the podcast this morning, it was, well, first of all, we're talking about businesses and scaling, and we're here at Vibe Realty, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We're going to have Vibe Realty as part of one of our guests at M3 Podcast here, I believe on the 24th. Maybe we have them on the same show here the same day and get it knocked out,
Yeah, that way Marco, right?
Yeah.
We need a Horizon too, bro.
I've been waiting for you to say that.
I know that I actually talked to him last time, but right now he's been killing it. Like he told me, man, January and February, man, I've been doing fantastic.
Too busy.
Too busy, but
Too
like
busy.
things are happening. Like a lot of people are like struggling on the first months. He's like, man, not me, man. I'm kicking some butt. That sometimes is good, like when you're saying about scaling businesses, because he's taking advantage. Because who knows, maybe the next 2 months for him can be slow, but he did had a lot of on the month of January and February.
That's a huge deal, man.
Right.
And that's happening with the tequila too, by the way.
Huh.
If I was applied on the graph, it was pretty flatlined for the first couple months, and it ticked up a little bit in the 4th month, and then it's starting to double on the 5th month, and now it's like another double on that double.
That's really good.
So if that keeps happening, that's exponential growth, man.
Yes.
That it's starting to worry me a little bit because I can't
Keep up.
the future and when to make my next purchase of product. It's
I was telling them earlier that I live in Michigan, okay? Mm-hmm. So I'd come down here because of business relations with my son and other people. But I take the tequila back with me, and I belong to a men's club that's been around since 1867, okay? And we meet every 1867. And we
but you weren't born there.
No, I wasn't there at the beginning of that, just barely. But
he created it. What are you talking about?
But we meet in this big 1880 mansion down in Detroit, and we meet every Saturday night, and we do white papers for each other. But we come and we have cigars and drink and so forth. And these guys are all Scotch and bourbon guys, okay? They're big on that. So I bought a bottle of Blue Barrel one night, and I said, I got some tequila, and they said, oh, no, we don't drink tequila, So I said, well, wait a second, give it a try, give it a try. So I opened it up and I passed it around. Now that's all they want. That's all they want.
The Blue Barrel tequila.
The Blue Barrel tequila.
I was
It's
telling
that
you.
good. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
it's that good.
It's like a sipping whiskey.
Yeah, yes.
I just came back. I
Yes.
just came from Cowboys and Indians, which is in the Heights. We're hoping we'll get in that restaurant, and I think we will. She tasted it, and she knew what she was doing.
Oh, she was impressed.
Yeah, she liked it a lot, and it was immediate. I mean, we didn't have it was less than 10-minute meeting, I think, and it was kind of a done deal. So that tells me a lot. I mean, when you got a product that's that kind of quality, it's easy to scale.
Bro, I love
that.
it. I'm telling you, we talked about loyalty, and like now when we talked about loyalty, when I'm out here, I'm like, I'm talking to like Blue Barrel, and that one is empty. I'm like, I'm loyal to you, Blue Barrel.
That's funny.
Because I've been to some other parties that they have the best Don Julio, and Don Julio used to be my favorite tequila. And I'll tell him when they give me shots of Don Julio, I can't take it.
Well,
It ruins the rest.
I got to tell you a funny story.
It ruins it.
Yes.
I've already told you this. I was gone for a couple of weeks, and I had brought a new bottle because we'd finished off the first bottle really fast. So I'd brought a second bottle in. And so I came in, and they were all, I was a little late for the meeting, and they were sitting drinking the tequila. And they said, why don't you try this tequila, this new bottle? And I said, what's the problem? He said, just try it, please. So I went over and poured a glass and took a sip. And I went, no, this can't be, no.
I thought he had to call me up.
And, I mean, this was really bad stuff. It was really terrible. And they said, what happened? I said, God, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it was a new bottle. I mean, a different, something's wrong. And they said, yeah, it is. It's really not very good, is it? I said, no, God, wait a second. I don't know what to say. I said, let me put it over to the side. So I put it over the side. Now I said, I got to try a second. And so I drank it, and it just was so bad, and it burned so bad going down.
I don't think you can say who the name of that tequila
I'm not
is,
going to
okay?
say the
Does it
tequila.
start with the P?
No. It was as bad a tequila as you can buy,
Yes.
okay? And in a plastic bottle,
Yes.
okay?
Oh, in the plastic.
Okay. And they started laughing. And I said, what's going on? They said, we put this
They
tequila.
switched it out.
They switched.
Oh, they
switched it from the
practical
They
joke.
put it in the old bottle, and they wanted to see my reaction.
reaction.
And I had said, I'm going to call my son. I'm going to tell him he can,
What's going on with this tequila?
yeah, there's something wrong, man. And they all started laughing. They said, we got you. And I said,
That's pretty funny.
Oh,
That's funny.
man.
That's why we now we film people's reactions when they take it now, because it became apparent to me that they all say the same thing. They have the same reaction, look on their face, and I have to use that because it's so genuine.
It is.
response.
It is.
And that should be the marketing. I mean, it's like I don't have to sit here and tell you how good it is. Let's check out the people who are tasting it for the first time, and that's how it goes.
Well, when you have guys who are used to drinking Johnny Walker Blue Label, who put that aside to drink this,
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah. So we are talking about scaling businesses today.
Yes, we
and we
were.
haven't even
Yeah.
Introduced this guy yet. So
No,
let's do that.
Yes, yes.
This
I'm
is
the mystery
who
guy.
is this young fella, sir?
I'm the mystery guy, right?
Who is this guy?
Is this the Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Well, this guy has an extensive background in Houston, native Houston,
Yep.
and but he went to the north side. He's been in Detroit now for 28 years, something like that.
28 years.
And so I don't know if he's considered Houstonian anymore, but he has those roots, and he's left his mark here. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you listening see his work that has been done here that he left 30 years ago. This is Stephen Bancroft. He is my father, actually.
That's my main claim to fame.
That's funny. And I got attacked by this. Boom! I got attacked by
you can
your
move
lamp over here.
You can move it back.
And he has extensive knowledge he's an Episcopalian preacher of I think, what did you say, 50 years?
54 years.
54 years. And
But retired after
retired.
35. I did full-time ministry in the church, in congregations, 2 of which were here in Houston for 35 years, and then I retired and went into business.
And I learned a lot from this man, of course, and one of the foundations of my beliefs come from that. We have similar beliefs, actually, almost exact, when it comes to Christ and the churches and everyday life and how you're supposed to live that everyday life as you walk with God every single day. That is the purpose why we're here. Doesn't mean you can't make $1 at your business. Doesn't mean you have to be a poor person. You don't have to be a martyr to love Christ and walk with God. As a matter of fact, I think he wants the opposite from us. And it seems a lot of people don't really agree with that for lots of different reasons. But we are here to tell you, I think it helps scale your business because of the relationships it brings about. The right people, you got to have these people in order to scale your business. You got to be able to trust them. You got to give them the skill set and then trust them. You got to be able to let go if you're a CEO of your business or you're stuck in that business and you're tapped out your ceiling. You have a ceiling. You can only do so much in 24 hours a day. What are you going to do? How are you going to expand your business out if it's just one of you guys? I know, and I don't want to talk about it. I know the robots are coming out, but let's be honest. If you go down that rabbit hole, it's going to end up coming right back to human interaction and relationships. And that is, look, the robot's going to help scale, but it's going to come to the people that will ultimately do the scaling.
When I was doing full-time ministry in the Episcopal Church, I did a class for businessmen, and the object was to say you can be a Christian and do Christian things in your business, and many of them were important business people, and they would come and they were serious about doing this. But I had one guy one day said, Steve, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't have to live with the problems we live with. You don't have to make the tough decisions we have to make. You're a priest. You live the normal priest life. You don't really have to deal with the difficulties of making decisions and figuring out how you have to keep your investors happy and all this kind of stuff and get new clients. That wasn't absolutely true because churches have to have members too, and we had to deal with money and so forth. But there came a moment when I said to myself, all right, look, because I became something of a businessman even as a priest because I did land development, okay? I did Midtown, okay? Because my church was there and I needed to help the local people who were living there, which were a lot of street people.
This is an H-Town OG.
H-Town OG, Midtown.
Guys,
there was nothing, right?
It was the lowest when I was there in the 80s as the rector of Trinity Church. It was the lowest income neighborhood in the state of Texas.
Midtown.
Yeah, and of course we ended up, and we did fabulous ministry for the homeless. There were a huge, large number of homeless people there, and we did ministry directly to them. And still do, by the way. The Lord of the Streets is still there doing that. But I found out that churches develop, how would I say, it's hard to do it a long time, okay? You get fatigue, goodness fatigue and stuff like that. And I knew that was going to be a problem. And the opportunity arose at one point to maybe change the neighborhood, okay? And the result of that was that we went after doing a tax increment finance district, which was number 2 in the city. And it's the most successful one they've ever had. And we changed the neighborhood, okay? And that's when I got interested in applying Christian principles to business practices. And so when I retired, that's what I did. That's what I started doing. I did business consulting, but I also did businesses. I did it with Aaron. I did it up in Detroit. I've done businesses over much of the United States in forms of development and so forth, always using the principles that we're going to talk about tonight to a certain degree, that says if you do these, if you honor God, if you treat people with respect, if you're honest and truthful, you'll make money. And you won't have to be apologetic for it. You're
Right.
not in the business to make money. You're in the business to provide a good or a service. But the results, if you do it right,
Money will
is that people will use
And
you.
I know a lot of people who get to that stage and they get that money and they feel guilty just having it. And they're like, what do I do with this money? And it's almost like, to me, I want to tell them, like, it's almost like it's burning their hands and they got to get rid of it, right? And it's almost like, and then when they get rid of it, they say, you know, it'd be nice if God would help us out with, you know, financing this project that we think he's, you know, part of. And I'm like, you just gave it away. It's almost like you're drowning in the ocean. He throws you a life vest or a lifesaver, and you go, I'm waiting to be saved. Why are you tossing these things at me?
One of my favorite jokes.
Grab the life vest.
Yes.
One of my favorite jokes is this priest has got a church like I had, which was in the lowest income area, and it was a struggle. And the people needed, and he finally got mad, and he says, you know, I've been doing this business for homeless and all this kind of stuff, and you know, we could use some help, and you know, I could at least win the lottery or something, you know, come on. And the room fills with smoke. And this voice comes out and says, give me a break, buy a ticket.
Not really,
He's never won the lottery, but he never bought a ticket.
Oh man, that's
God-
funny that you say that because like part of my dad and my mom, they always buy the lottery tickets.
Yep.
And I never do, and they're like, "Why don't you buy?" I'm like,
Never win.
I don't want to.
You can't win if you don't buy a ticket. And here's how I look at it, by the way. It's a form of self-taxation. They're going to tax you one way or the other.
yeah.
All right?
Might as well have a chance
might
win,
as well
yeah.
have an opportunity to get something.
Absolutely.
You're right.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to buy one.
All you got to do is, look, they're $2.
$2. Yeah,
you know,
$2.
it'd be easy, you know,
Who
nothing to
knows,
it. So,
right?
but that's the other phrase I like to use, and this is important for anyone, not just in business, but in your life. God can steer a moving truck better than a parked one. Okay? Now, I want you to think about that. Sometimes you may not know the direction you may want to go. Okay? You may have a guess, but you got to do something. If you just sit around waiting for God to tell you sometimes, that's not the thing to do. Sometimes, as I said, it's easier for God to steer a moving truck than a parked one. And so sometimes you got to go out and do. You just have to do.
Yeah. And you're not going towards a destination. Life is the destination.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
So, you know, I think people miss that all the time. You're living every single day, and I bet you 90% of people listening right now are going, right now they're thinking about the future and what they're going to plan to do and how they're going to do it. And man, one day I'm going to own this car. One day I'm going to live in this place.
Yeah.
One day I'm going to have kids. I'm going to get married one day. You know, that kind of thing. One day until, you know,
One day is past.
One day too late.
One day is past.
And yeah, one day passed, and then you know that there's that special one day where you leave this place, right? So, you know, the question that we've been talking about all day, and what we need to discuss on this. Obviously, you got the notes before where you know we're talking about in Exodus with Moses and how he
The Moses.
The Moses.
Moses.
That's what I was like. It was intriguing because I never heard it that way.
Moses method.
The
Really,
Moses method is a fascinating concept.
It
Go
is.
ahead.
And we applied that with another concept of, you know,
principles?
taking life too serious. You know, like, for example, everyone's a fear of death, you know, where if we may go in the rabbit hole in this episode to where, you know, why do you fear death when it's just it's like you're waking up from a dream, like when you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning.
I don't think we never die.
That's right. You don't. As a matter of fact, it's a physical death and a spiritual, right?
It's a change.
It's a change.
It's a change in your life.
And the way I like to say it is, you know, we die in this world so we don't have to die spiritually from what we learn in this world.
But the Moses method, I mean, you need to know the story.
Yes.
Remember? All right.
Yes.
Moses is asked by God to go back and get the children of Israel out of Egypt. And he doesn't want to do it, right? And he gives all kinds of excuses and everything. And God says, no, you need to do it. And he finally says, okay, I'm going to do it. So he goes and he brings them. And then here he is with all these former slaves in the middle of nowhere. And I mean in the middle of nowhere. I've been there, okay? It's out in the desert. It's a mess.
You went to Mount Sinai?
Huh?
Was it Mount
Sinai.
Yeah. You went there?
That's where they were going. And so he's out there, and they are causing all kind of problems. Everything's a mess. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of thousands maybe of people. And he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's trying to run it, and he's trying to do this, and he's doing that, and they're asking this, and they're asking him that, and he's a mess. And he finally goes to God and makes this wonderful comment, by the way. He says, did I birth these people? Or do I have this responsibility? They're yours, and all this kind of stuff. And his father-in-law says what?
You can't handle all of the questions all the time, and you'll spend your entire time answering everyone's questions all the time. They all went to him, every single one. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people.
And so Jethro says to him, here's what you need to do. You can't be the head guy and do all this by yourself.
Right.
You can't do it. So here's what you need to do. You're going to have to let go of a certain amount of the power that you have, and you're going to have to bestow it on others.
Right.
Okay? And give them not only the authority, the responsibility, but the authority to make certain decisions that doesn't have to come to you. And you're going to do it in terms of thousands, hundreds, tens, whatever, 50s,
Is that what
100s.
created the tribes, ultimately?
Well, no, the tribes were already around because they were based on family relations. But they did divide those tribes up into families. And I mean, it worked in a way that the numbers worked. And so, and guess what? Now it worked. Now things started operating, okay? And so that was the first step, okay? That's the first
They needed to
concept.
figure that out. That took some figuring, I'd imagine. That, some time, obviously direction, and figuring it out. I mean, recently I talked about it last time, I believe, and I recently found this out in my own life. That it took me a long time, roughly 40 years, to figure out my purpose in God's arena.
Yeah.
Maybe the Jews were going through that in the desert for 40 years for the same reason.
Well, certainly they did, and take another lap.
Yeah.
But, so it starts there where you have to give up a certain amount of your ego, a certain amount of your pride, a certain amount of the sense that I'm the boss.
I'm in control.
I'm trying to be.
Delusion.
Yeah, we're going to talk about control more in a minute. I've got to give up some control, and I got to empower other people.
Power, very important.
Empower other people, okay? And that's what Moses started that, okay? Moses started that process. You got to put it in what you do. If you're in business for yourself, or you're in business or where you have some authority within the framework, that's a wonderful method to look at. That's the Moses method. Okay? But it doesn't end with Moses. We're going to talk about Jesus too within the framework of this, because there's something in all of us that wants to control what happens to us. Okay?
It's driven by fear.
Yeah, it is. It's driven by fear. If I don't have control, what could happen?
Could happen.
Okay? And a lot of it's bad, granted. But,
The unknown is fearful, and
Yes.
that's the control that people seem to think they're losing when they didn't have control to begin with.
see, that's the reality, is that control in the level that we want is illusionary. It isn't actually
Can I ask
there.
you a question, Jesus? Do you remember being born?
Do I remember,
being born? Do you remember coming out of the womb? No. Did you have any part of that process of being born? Did you decide on how you looked in your name and everything? No. Did you have any control over that? So what makes you think you have any control at all? Especially if you're going to die one day when you don't want to, maybe. You don't control that
and
either.
then you go to something deeper too, like the names. I mean, how was that stable to, create a name? Like, my name is Jesus, your name is Aaron. Who vowed to about the names? And then
Well, you live with
the
them, don't you?
You
The
do.
certificates and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other people did that, and you've learned to live with it.
Yes.
And
Right.
I will tell you, as someone who's faced death twice now, all right? Both times I thought I was going to die. In fact, I was told I was going to die. You suddenly realize you have no power.
you know.
There is no power in the face of transferring from this life to whatever is going to happen after this life is gone.
Transcend to the next one.
And to me, it's a transition. To me, you just
Yes.
move to another. But you don't have any control over that. You don't know what's going to be on the other side specifically.
The only time you can have control of it is obviously suicides. You know, it seems like you have control at that point. I can kill myself when I want, you know? There was a time when, you know,
He considered it.
I considered it. I'm
You
going to
did.
tell everyone out there. You know, I'm way better now, just so you know, so it's all good. But
I lived
he
in
was like,
former-
go ahead
yeah.
and do what you're going to do, but if you're going to throw it away like trash, I kind of value that and I want that, and you're not ready for this. You're going to give it away too soon. I'm glad I didn't, so, you know, it made it easier for me to see what we're talking about, where the control really is on him. It's kind of even better what it did to my psyche at that point was going, well, it's a crap life. You can have my crap life, but it's on you. It's on you, God. It's on you.
Yeah.
So my
So,
question,
but I got to give myself to him if it's on him. He can do whatever he wants.
so my question to you: so when you try to like suicide or kill yourself, was it because you felt like there was something at home with your mom and your dad?
No.
There was a series of events. It happened to surround myself with my family, my divorce, and how it was done, where I didn't see my kids for a while, and that undid me.
That takes.
And it was intentional, yes. And I think certain people are never going to see this, so it doesn't matter. But even then, I would say it. There's no hard feelings there. It actually made me who I am, and it put me in front of God.
If we can accept everything that happens to us, ends up making us who we are, and we find a place
If
to
you can
say,
survive
I am good with who I am.
Yeah.
Being good with him.
I am good with who I am. Okay? I may not be perfect. I may make mistakes. I may have problems, all the kind of stuff, but I'm good with who I am. Okay? I'm good to know that I'm a child of God. And I accept that. I love that. And I try to pass that on to others as best I can. Then everything that's happened to me, good and bad, it reminds me of the comment that Thomas Edison made. Thomas Edison spent 15 years trying to develop the light bulb, okay? And he had 220 failures. 220 failures. And this guy asked him, "God, how did you keep trying when you had 220 failures?" He said, "I didn't have 220 failures. I had 220 ways of not doing it."
Yeah. Yeah.
There was going to be a way to do it. I just hadn't found it
I
yet.
found it yet. Just that one.
That's correct.
Now you're bringing it back to like the Moses and scaling the business. It's like you just gotta win one time.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. Take Jesus, please, because
Well,
that's the best example.
Let me tell you, I mean, Jesus, people forget that when Jesus came, the world had a way of doing things.
Yep.
And the way of doing things, even for the Jews, was the following. Who was your first loyalty to as a Jew? Well, it was God. Then the nation. Then the tribe. Then the family. And at the very bottom of the order of responsibility, power, and importance was the individual. Okay? So the individual was the very last. All right? And that was the way it was for everybody. When civilizations were created, the individual was a cog in the wheel of function.
Individualism back there was a different look than what
Absolutely.
it was today. You know how individuals are uplifted today, like be yourself. You know, back then it was get with the program.
That's right. Your individualism is causing problems.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it's a terrible thing. Jesus came in the midst of all that and said, no, the individual is who God loves. Okay? If you ask Jesus, when Jesus asked, can you summarize, can you tell us what the most important aspect of the religion is? He says, sure, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. But the second is this, love your neighbor more than yourself? No.
No.
Love your neighbor as much as you love yourself. And then treat people how?
Respect.
With the way you want to be
To be
treated.
treated, yeah.
So the individual becomes the central focus of how you make your decision. The central focus is you love God. You treat people. You love yourself because God loves you. Okay?
And that's super profound because you listen to what he just said. You start looking at people like they are divine products of the universe.
That's
that is
correct.
God's environment.
Exactly. And so you honor God by treating people with respect. And the individual becomes extremely important for Jesus. Now, Jesus knew he was going to leave at some point, okay? What would have happened if Jesus healed all these people, told everyone all these wonderful things, gets killed on the cross, dies, and that's it? What would have happened? Who would have known?
He would have just been dead.
He'd have been dead.
A regular person, yes.
But what he did is he took 12 people and a few others, ones we probably wouldn't have chosen, by the way.
Right.
And they spent whatever time his ministry was, and and he taught them, and he trained them, and he prepared them, and then he gave them authority, just like Moses did to those who he gave the authority to. Jesus did that with what were called disciples because they were followers, but when he gave them that authority, they became apostles, which means
yes.
people who went forth. And then they died, by the way, but they produced other people. And within 300 years, the Christian church had converted the Roman Empire into belief and became the official religion of the Empire of Rome. That's the most dramatic revolution in the history of the world. No revolution has succeeded to that point, ever, ever. Because, all right, so think of this. Alexander the Great comes and conquers most of the world. He died, and what happened? It all split apart. Okay? The Romans came, conquered the world. What happened?
Same thing.
They just went away. No one is, whatever revolutionary thing that has happened within the framework of civilization, all goes away. What has remained are the Jews and the Christians for all these thousands of years who did not win by battles or forcing people to do anything or taking over governments. They did it by convincing people that the authority they have unto themselves comes from Jesus Christ, from God and Jesus Christ. And they got to treat it with respect.
With respect.
And that is the greatest revolution in the history of the world.
I agree.
That's
It
correct.
has to do with the love. I mean, you start to, it becomes a slippery slope, and once you peer behind the veil, it's hard to unsee it.
You're like,
And
oh.
now you start to look at people on the street, any people, all people.
All people, yeah.
Like homeless people are out there, and there's still a divine being laying on the ground out there, and it's like, it drives my mind to the point where you start looking at these people like children, like like children of God, yes, but actual children.
Actual
Like where
kids.
if God's looking down on us, I'd imagine he's pretty much going, oh, you little cuties, you busted your tire and you're on the side of the road. You're having the worst day of your life, but it's so cute. Look at you. I think that's the way he looks at us.
Well, he does. He's bemused.
Yes.
I don't see God very angry.
No, I think
The Old Testament sees that because they realize they deserve to be angry at. But
you need a catalyst for the change.
But he has told me, all three of my children, and you probably have this too, think about it. There's something that your mother and your dad used to say that you'll remember the rest of your life, okay? My father had this phrase that to this day, I can hear his voice. Can't you boys do anything right?
Yeah.
Do I have to show you how to do everything? That was my father's comments whenever we screwed up.
And I got mine with him.
Well, I know exactly what it is. I'll tell you exactly what it is in just a minute. But my mother's, what I can always remember is my father, being a strange sort of bird, would, oh, Jack, how could you? I can hear that to this day.
Still.
I can hear her voice in my head. I know exactly what my children will remember about me when I'm gone. And it is, what were you thinking?
That's exact words.
What were you thinking?
Yeah, what were you thinking? God, it's a mannerism.
It is. What were you thinking? That's how I see God. I see God saying, what were you thinking?
Yeah, yeah. But ultimately, no matter what we do here on earth, that we're just, I know we do horrible things to each other, humans to human. But still, I believe he's looking at the top and going, well, that's cute, but y'all need to stop now. It's, y'all taking it too far. It's cute to a certain degree.
Don't get so serious about your life.
Yes.
Don't get so serious about your life.
Yep.
You're in my hands.
Why is everyone so serious?
Sounds
like a joker.
It's
Why so
it's
serious?
so right, because when he said it took me like all those 40 years, same way. Now that I'm 40, the same way I started opening and asking myself, why am I so serious? Why am I stressing for things that I don't need to be stressed?
Exactly.
I did the same. Keep going.
And then I was like, God, I'm like, everybody has to pay this mortgage, this and that. Why do I gotta put my mindset on that when I can create? Be a creative, not a God, because when people's like, I'm a creator, God created us as creators of here to create and build. And you said something important, empower others, serve others. So when I started thinking that, then I started talking about the boys over here, boys over here, and I was like, you're right. I'm like, just be thankful that you wake up in the morning. Be thankful that you breathing in, you breathing out, and that. I always say when I wake up and talking to God, I was like, smile a little. I say, fart a little. I was saying that, and I laugh at myself, and I was like you said, I'm not taking my life like everybody's serious in this for what? I'm abiding what I'm doing today. I'm not thinking about the future. I'm thinking about what I'm building right now that it will build for the future.
Right.
Last April,
Right.
I had a heart attack. Okay? Out of the blue. My heart was in great shape. I just seen my cardiologist. He said, you're going to live to be 100 years old, Steve. Your heart is great. You only have 15% blockage in your veins. Your vessels only have 15% of cholesterol in them. You're fabulous. You're in great shape, blah, 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 blah. And a month later, boom, I have a heart attack. Okay? And it turned out to be a heart attack that should have killed me. Absolutely should have killed me. It was what they call the widowmaker. Okay? So I never lost consciousness. I told my wife, I'm having a heart attack. We got to go to the hospital. I won't tell the whole story. But at the moment that I was pretty sure I was going to die, okay, I'm on a table in the hospital. We got to the hospital in an amazing amount of time, thanks to a fabulous police officer who stopped us for speeding and made the decision to do that. I got in an ambulance. We got to the hospital. I got up, and the surgeon comes over. I'm just there. They're about ready to go in and try and figure out what they're going to do. He knew what he was going to do, and he looked down at me. He says, "You're in serious trouble." And all I could think to say to him was, duh.
Hey, that's why I'm here.
Duh. I didn't even take my death seriously.
That's interesting you say that, because I study near-death experiences, like thousands of them now, it looks like, and they all have similar type things. At the moment of death, they all say the same thing, because they're all talking about it. They come back to talk about it, so these are near-death experience. They died and come back. They say, right at the moment of death, it's almost as if, oh, of course this is supposed to happen.
Yeah. It's just,
It's as if it was expected, you always knew it, but forgot. I don't know if you had that same.
He says, we got to go in right now. He says, and at that point, I had not passed out. Under most times with this kind of heart attack, what had happened is a piece of plaque had broken off, gone through my heart, and clogged the left descending artery in my heart, which is the most important artery in your heart. And this guy goes in here, and then all of a sudden, that's the last I remember. I either passed out or they put something in me. I don't know what happened. And the next thing I do is I wake up, and I at the point that he did this, I figured I'm going to die. Okay, I'm not going to make this.
And you're probably okay with it.
I was fine.
Yeah.
I was fine.
Yeah.
I told Margaret when I got out of the car to get into the ambulance, I told my wife goodbye.
Just in case of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just said, I love you. It's been great. Just know I love you. And I figured that was it. And, and when I woke up, and here was the guy still in his mask, and he says, you made it. And he said, 15 more minutes you wouldn't have. And he said, and I've got to say something to you. Even though I have to say it all myself, it was a brilliant piece of surgery. That's what he said. And I said, well, I'm glad you're brilliant. I'm glad to be here.
Well, it sounds like it was supposed to be for a wake-up call, maybe? I don't know.
Well, I've raised the question, and I have. And we talked about this previously when we talked about months ago when we talked about the podcast. I said, there's a reason why he saved me. There was no reason. I mean, look, I'm in my 80th year, okay? I've lived a good, long, reasonable, good life, and I'm happy. All right? So why was I spared?
Why was he spared?
Why?
So let's move some vehicles and see if God will steer these vehicles. So the podcast is one of these things we're moving, right?
We made the decision. At one point I said, look, people keep telling me I ought to do a podcast. I've had a lot of people tell me this through the years. And I said, no, I don't need to do that. But they said, you have something to say. Mm-hmm. And so the decision was that, yes, we would start doing this, and I would start being involved in some podcasts. And next thing I know, I have these young guys out of the blue coming to me and ask me to mentor them up in Detroit. So we meet on a regular basis. I talk to them all the time. I think the reason is that whatever wisdom I may have should be shared. I should not just hold it to myself, okay? Now, whether that wisdom changes anyone's life or makes any difference, that's up to them and God. But I feel I have to say certain things, okay? Things I've learned through the years.
One thing I want to say real quick, and you mentioned it, I've been intrigued with the spirituality of things, the death is intriguing, yes, and the near-death experiences and so forth. When your father died, my grandfather, I asked him, I don't know if I told you this, but I said, how do I know heaven's real, Papa? And he said, you know what? When I go, I'll let you know. Surely I will be able to come back and somehow let you know. That was about 10 years before he died. And I forgot about it. And he died. And it was only a dream, but in that dream, he was so vivid in my dream. And he literally came and he says, I got your attention, right? Okay. The answer is yes, you have nothing to worry about, it's real. And I thought it was just my dream. And then I recalled the whole thing that I was like, I did ask him about this. So I want to say to you, if that happens, I would love for you to tell me something from the other side. That'd be interesting.
If it's okay to do it, and if it matters, I certainly will. But I live in full expectation that what we're going to have on the other side of this life, is a new opportunity, a new sense of awareness, a new sense of, If you've never read C.S. Lewis's book, The Great Divorce, I recommend it to everybody. It's a very small book. You can read it probably in an afternoon. It's a fabulous concept. Now, it's his idea, right? It's not biblical. It's his idea of what happens when you get to heaven.
That's C.S. Lewis.
C.S. Lewis, yes.
Oh, C.S. Lewis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, C.S. Lewis, who wrote Mere Christianity and all that stuff, okay. He wrote this little bitty book, and it is so powerful. It is so loving.
He's the one that wrote the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Lion, the Witch, and all the Narnia Chronicles.
Yeah.
And he wrote,
Good movies, by the way.
oh, they are good movies.
The Screw
And
Tape.
Screw Tape Letters.
That's right.
You know, a fabulous guy. So I would recommend C.S. Lewis's book, The Great Divorce. Okay.
And a lot of what we talk about on this podcast, especially for today's, topic, you can get Alan Watts, Carl Jung.
Oh, yes.
Jordan Peterson talks a lot about this.
Jordan Peterson, yes.
But, we're trying to get to H-Town Unplugged and the Houston business owners, right?
Yes.
And how they can scale their business. And usually the first thing they think about is money. And, really, it should be about the people. I mean, I know people need to get paid, and you have money to pay the people, but, you can't scale a business without the people. I mean, you can have all the money in the world.
I mean, look, ego is the biggest problem that all of us deal with. Look, let's be honest with you.
That's true.
You got to let the ego get out of the way.
That's it. And it is a counterintuitive type scenario where you're thinking, well, I have to think for myself. I have to have money. I have to have control, let's say, on and on, when really the answer is release it.
Yep.
It's counterintuitive. I'm going to release my control when I'm trying to gain control? Yeah, because you don't have it to begin with. It's a delusion.
It is a delusion.
And people are probably wondering, what do you mean this delusion? I control things. I control my kids, my income, my house, Okay, you're living in high entropy state all the time. You mow your lawn today, and you go away for a week, and you think when you come back, I just mowed it last week. It's going to look great when I show up. And you realize the weeds have grown. And you're going, man, it just went to, chaos. You're always trying to control the chaos around you from a high entropy state. It's thermodynamics. It's the laws of physics to go into equilibrium. And that is also our lives, We are controlled by other things that we think we could. If you have 100 things controlling you a day, I promise you maybe can control one thing of that.
One thing, yeah.
A day. But it goes away like a fart in the wind, really, once you stop attending it.
Well,
the entropy takes over.
I want you to think about, let's go back to Jesus again, or Moses. Now, Moses tried to be everything that he could be. He was going to answer all their questions, be everyone's need, and so forth. And then it failed.
It failed.
And he was at his wit's end.
Maybe it took 40 years to figure this out.
Maybe that's why we get to 40.
He was just, I mean, he was beside himself. And he's sitting there saying to God, look, did I birth these people? I mean, they were asking for meat. And he says, you're going to get meat, okay? It's going to be vomiting out. You're going to vomit out your nose.
For me, you asked the question earlier. I was, the divorce and having my kids away from me literally destroyed me until I was rebuilt. And I can't really say anything to my aggressors, It's almost some gratitude there. Like I found myself because of the aggression that was put on me. And I don't put them down for it. It's almost that thing where God was on the cross and he looked at the people and he said, God forgive them. They not know they not know what they do.
Yeah, that's exactly the issue.
That mindset that he's looking at the people as he's dying on the cross. Think about this. He's still looking at them as children of God. Like, please bless these. They're fulfilling a purpose.
If there was any human
it's
being,
okay.
If there was any human
not that
being who
serious.
had the power, if there was any human being who had the power, the real power, it was Jesus. And guess what? If you read Paul and you read those, he gave it all up.
Yeah.
He gave it up for us so that we would not gain power. I'm sorry, I have problems with those people who say, well, if you just do the right thing, God will give you power. No, that's not the purpose of things.
I find myself praying for my ex-wife. on
Well-
a similar situation. She, it's sitting there going, she didn't know what she was doing. She didn't, and it's okay.
It's okay.
It was needed. I facilitated, and it happened, and God intervened, and thank God He did.
Yeah.
And we are all better human beings for it. I hope. And one of the prayers I do for my ex-wife is I hope she's okay, because I don't talk to her, I don't engage.
That's how I pray for her too. And now it's like, I was fighting. Like I said, the same thing happened to me. There was a time where she blocked me from everything. Facebook. I was like, how am I gonna even talk to my daughter? Like, I don't have any.
You treated her like another child, God.
And I was mad at her. I was telling God, it's like, oh no, you punish her and this and that because she took her and this and that. And I was like, well, I had a part of it. Now that I understand, I was like,
She didn't know what she was doing.
I was part of the whole thing. I was
Did
like,
you know what you were doing a lot of times when you
No.
messed up?
No.
Almost all the times when you mess up, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
You didn't tend to mess up, did you?
Yeah.
You
Yep.
did not. So,
And now it's different because now we don't fight. We know that we got to take care of our daughter. We got to be, now what is it called? Lead by example, co-parent. Like, hey,
Yep.
and look, did I tell you the story, right? We did talk about it, right? Like I was telling him that I didn't talk to my daughter for maybe a month, and we had a 2-hour talk, and she had the tears like, Dad, why do I gotta go to school? Like, that's not for me.
Yeah, that's a lot of conversation.
And she opened up and she said, why do I gotta raise my hand? If I gotta go pee, I can just go pee. I'm a human.
Yeah.
Like, she started questioning herself in all different aspects. I know that I've been teaching her since she was 5.
She's
since-
12, you said, right
she's
now,
13.
right? 13, okay.
But now at 13, she just opened up and she's like, I just want to be creative. I just want to run my time. God is there. Like, why are these things put into this way? These systems, school, raise my hand. I'm going to school from 6 to 2 when I feel like I'm wasting 6 to 2. When 6 to 2, I could have built something and helped somebody. Sir, I'm like, and that was all her. I just stayed quiet.
Good questions, and
They are.
and maybe
Smart.
they don't have answers, but you listen, and you empathize. That's sort of what God does. People seem to want God to be a Santa Claus, a cosmic Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the fact is, we really don't want him to be in the long run. Let me tell you, you don't. Because if he dictates your life in a way that you have no choice,
Bye-bye free will.
and you don't get a choice, there's no love. There's no love.
That is not loving at all.
There's no love in demand, no love in requirement, no love in power being imposed on you. You will love me and you won't have any choice. No, you can't do
He has a
that.
perfect plan. He gives you free will so you can love him. Otherwise, it's fake.
Yeah,
It's
so-
fake, yeah.
So Jesus gives up the greatest power. Let's say he is. He is. If God, and I certainly believe is, did the universe, and we are created in the image of God, Jesus is that image. Okay. So he comes among us to show it what it's like to be with God. And what did he do? How much power did he force on anybody?
Nothing.
At no point. Okay?
Nothing.
It was all freely offered, freely given by him. Okay?
And look at the power he created in the world thousands of
Exactly.
years later.
That's exactly correct. He gave up all the power that God, by our image of God, should have.
Right.
And when Pilate asks him, are you a king? And he says, yes, I am, but not of this world.
Not of this world. Yeah.
And he said, well, don't you know what I could do to you? And he says, yeah, but if it weren't given to you to do that, I could call the angels to come, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
He had to fulfill the plan.
He had to fulfill the plan in which he gives up all his power.
Yep. He's
All
supposed
right.
to show us how to do it. And let's go back into the business scaling, because this is perfect, I think, because you got two ways to scale a business. You really do.
Yeah.
We're going to something next week on Tuesday,
Yeah,
right?
Tuesday, yeah.
Aspire.
Our business aspires, yeah.
That's going to be one of these things where they're going to show you how to scale your business a certain way through steps, procedures,
The foundations,
foundations,
structure.
skill sets, blah blah blah, systems. Now systems
They're worthwhile.
You
System
have
and
to
a
have
process.
systems. You have to have
System and a
systems.
process.
They're
You
worthwhile.
gotta have them all, but it's only temporary.
Pokemon.
Well,
But I find that it's only temporary because it's only so much lasting as much as you can handle that.
Yeah.
Like,
don't say, I mean, look, it's worthwhile.
yes.
But it's the attitude you bring to it that'll make it work, not the systems themselves.
You gotta have the systems to plug people into.
That's correct. But it's your attitude.
Yeah.
If you're the leader, it's the attitude you bring to it. Jesus attracted people not because
That's
he had a good system.
No.
He attracted people
Because of him.
because his attitude towards them.
Who he was.
That's correct.
When I decided to make that change in my attitude, I mean, all of a sudden we're doing podcasts, we're buying buildings, we're expanding and merging with businesses, where tequila came around. I mean, some magical things happened. You know, I spent a good 20 years trying to force things down a pipe, and man, you saw me get frustrated to a level
You have no idea.
that
You have no idea.
You know, where I'm sitting there going, I am spending 90% effort here and getting 5% results. And it got to the point, of course, where we talked about it earlier, where, you know, it got to a point where God needed me to be and says, can I take over now? and I said, yes, please. First of all, I needed it off my shoulders, but he
Yeah.
did. He took my life and he changed it around. Now, I had to make the decision to do that. He's got to be able to use me.
Yes.
And you can't use a toolbox with, you know, a bunch of
No.
derelict tools in it. You get,
It's kind of like, sorry about that.
Yeah, I know.
How we delegate stuff like to scale.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm delegating me, my mind, body, soul, and spirit to him.
right.
You
And
delegate.
the weirdest thing is that things start magically happening without effort.
But that's
And
the
I'm sitting there
amazing.
going, wait
yeah,
a second.
yeah.
I spent my whole life, 90% effort for the tiniest little things. I'm getting all things, it seems, with no effort. Now, just because my attitude changed.
The attitude is so important, and I
Very
can't
To the
tell
point
you.
where
I
Orlando
can't-
looks at it, I'm sorry, but Orlando looks at it and says, that is a damn miracle, what I just witnessed through me.
Well, miracles require attitude too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jesus made a very interesting comment, oftentimes to someone who got healed. He says, "Your faith made you whole. Your faith made you whole." The woman who touched him was healed.
Huge. That's huge.
Think about that.
That is so
And
powerful.
he says, "Who did that?" And she says, "I did. I'm sorry." And he says, "No. You had the faith. The faith made you whole. Go and be happy. Go and be content."
If God knows the intention of your heart, it's already done to God.
Yeah.
And so I can't express strong enough about any of the tools that we are given to create a business, expand a business, make the business work. All of that is worthwhile. I mean, I did business consulting for a while, and I met a guy, incredible guy, and his name is George Saltzman. And George, I know you're not here from the standpoint of life in this world, but he's somewhere. And I need to say again how much I appreciated what you gave me. A brilliant man. He was the chief futurist for Exxon Corporation, and he mentored me through some interesting things, some wonderful stuff. And one of them was, you know, he started every talk. I want you to think about this. He started every talk the same way. The way things are today is the way they're always going to be. Is that correct? Is that correct? No, it's not. Then why do you spend so much of your time trying to make it true?
Damn.
Think about that. Why would you spend so much of your time trying to make it true? When you're willing to have the attitude of accepting change and trying to figure what that change is by looking at the past, looking at how things go, and then projecting it to the future and moving moving the truck in a way that God can steer it, because you kind of you don't control it.
You don't know what's fascinating. Yeah, I've been in that. My father knows this. I've been in five major accidents, car accidents. I walked away from every one. But there's a common theme with all of them that, you know, when I look back on, and it was right at the moment, there was a letting go sensation. It was I felt myself moving through the vehicle during the actual wreck, and my thought process was, don't resist it. And in not resisting, I felt like I was loose, and I was probably even bounced around the car everywhere. But I came out unscathed, essentially. I even busted a windshield with my head. At like,
I was the one driving.
knocked me right out, you know.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I thought I'd killed him.
And it didn't last but a few seconds, but I blacked out, I did. But again, it was a moment of, I don't remember flying through the air, but I do remember of the whole, oddly, a warm sensation. It was cold because it was in Colorado.
We were skiing.
But oddly enough, it was a warm sensation, and it was something of the sort of, let go. But I was a kid. I didn't know what any of that meant, you know?
Oh, no.
And he kept me from the trauma. You know, yeah, he protected me. Yeah. I just didn't know it at the time. You know, but hindsight's 20/20. We always say that, right?
Yeah.
Man, 40 years of looking back, and it's mind-blowing. And, you know, letting go made all the difference on scale, on like the scalability of what's happening. I mean, we've had Majestic Stone open for about 13, 14 years now. We could never think about scaling it to the way we are now by merging with a cabinet company called Century Millwork. You know, that was outside of,
That's bigger than we are.
Yes. Now we're creating a complete system.
From Houston?
From Houston, yeah. And it's working out beautifully. And, you know, again, it was one of those things I didn't do anything. You know, I really didn't. Now I have to move. I have to do things. I got to.
Yeah.
Guys, you just can't sit there and go, well, Aaron had some experience. You do nothing and everything's handed to you. Let me go check the mail. Well,
that's what people think sometimes.
Well, yeah. So as my father said, you got to move. And you know, here's the other part. I was moving always too fast in the past. Like I was always here while God was moving. Like he's like, you're getting ahead of me all the time. You're in my way, Aaron. You're not going to accomplish anything this way. And he's so true. I had to slow down.
Come back to him.
Come and then wait for him. Wait. Like I'm ready to move. He knows that. He already seen that in me. As a matter of fact, you said something about when I was a child, and I felt it when I was a child. You said, and I remember it actually, exact words. You couldn't wait to get out in the world to do something.
Oh,
and it was. I even started my own.
He started his own business at
like
12. He was 12 years old.
Just because I want to get out there. I wanted to create something, you know. And
I said, "Calm down, calm down."
And I didn't. I did not calm down. And I paid severely for it.
Seems like you had an old soul in you.
I think so. But you know, the mistake I made, and the mistake I don't want you guys to make, is stop trying to force everything. I took everything too serious. I tried to control. You get rid of control, release yourself, your ego especially.
Yeah, ego.
Right?
Yeah.
Magically.
Don't take things too seriously.
There we go.
You know.
The scaling happens at that point. It's like
some things just happen when they need to happen.
That's it.
If you are relaxed enough, you know, I burned myself out in the priesthood at one point. I got up in the sermon. I got up to give a sermon one day, and I got up in the pulpit, and I couldn't give it. And I said to the congregation, I have nothing to say, and sat down. I want you to think about that. And I'd burned myself out. And that church was so smart. The head of the vestry came. He said, "We want to talk to you." So
that was St. Cyprian's.
St. Cyprian's. And they said, "We've been waiting for this to happen. You can't work 80 hours a week. Okay? We're not going to let you do that anymore. You're going to take Friday off for yourself. You're going to take Saturday off for your family. And we're going to put $10,000 into a fund that every year you're going to take at least a month. It doesn't have to be at all at one time, of continuing education to make you a better person to resolve." And they saved my life. They saved my career. They saved my life. They saved my marriage. And the smartest thing that anyone ever said to me were those guys and gals on that vestry, and said, "You can't continue to try to win the world. Okay? You can't. So kind of back off. Kind of live into the moment. Live with the understanding that God's going to put you in certain places for you to do, okay? Hopefully you'll accept that. All right? Now, I've fought God many a time. I never took a church, interestingly, that I really wanted to take. But God would say to me, no, this is where you're going.
That's how I ended up in Greenspoint.
Yeah.
I didn't. Who wants to go to
Who wants to go to Greenspoint?
I mean, I have a stone company. Like there isn't. I was perfectly fine where we're at in the Hempstead Highway.
Oh, on the
You know, on Granite Row, right? Yeah, where you
the
showed
little
up.
blue door.
Right. And here I am years later in Greenspoint. I'd never picked any of that. I didn't pick Greenspoint. I didn't pick the building. I didn't pick my office or my chair, really. And it put me right where I needed to be.
Well, I remember the story of going to Trinity, which was this dying church in Midtown. And I said, I can't go there. And the bishop asked me why not. I said, I'm not. Look, there's two wonderful priests. There's the cathedral and there's Palmer, and they have two wonderful priests. And quite honestly, I'm just not talented enough to take that church. I'm not talented enough. And the bishop said, well, I don't agree with you. I said, well, I don't care whether you agree with me or not. I said, I'm just not talented enough for that church. And he said, would you pray about it for one more day? And I was at a conference, a clergy conference. And there was a guest preacher, okay? He knew nothing. So I'm sitting there and I asked my brother, who's a priest, and another friend of mine, I told them what the situation was and would they pray with me during the prayer time. And they did. And this guy's preaching, and all of a sudden he stops. This is no joke. He stops. And he says, I got to get off my sermon for just 1 minute because God has given me a message to give y'all. And he said, I need to tell somebody here, God doesn't call talented people. He calls faithful people. Well, I broke into tears.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. And I knew that was for me.
It was
Yeah.
for you. Yeah.
You know, and so I accepted the call. Margaret was not very excited. My wife wasn't very excited
It's
about
a very
it.
counterintuitive concept.
And it was the greatest ministry. Oh, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
Trinity was a wonderful place to be. I spent 10 years of the best of my life at that place. We did incredible things. We did really, and it's because at that point, once I said, well, God, if I'm going there, you're gonna have to do something because I don't have a snowflake's chance in hell of making this thing work. I don't have the slightest idea what I'm supposed to do. So, and I was surrounded by talented people who came there because we were doing certain things with poor people, with the homeless, with all kinds of different things.
That's pretty amazing.
Remember, it was an incredible place.
Without that experience, I could never fathom Greenspoint and what's about to happen there.
I'm telling you, and all I could do was marvel at it. I mean, just marvel at it. And people would try to say, well, I mean, wow, what you did. I said, I didn't do it. I did not do it. It just was, I mean, there were wonderful people. I could name 20, 30 people right off the top of my head that if they had not been there, none of this would have happened, you know. And they came out of nowhere. They came from the weirdest places. They came from, you know, it just, you know, including some of the homeless guys who found themselves because we said, you're a valuable person to God. Remember the individualism, the concept? You are important to God. And they caught it. They got it.
Yeah.
And when they got it, they went and did their own thing. And I can't tell all their stories, but there's some wonderful stories.
Unfortunately, yeah, it is. There's a lot of stories. And unfortunately, we live in a world where, you know, there's not a lot of this talk happening. I mean, 90% of the people, 90% of the time,
Yeah.
you know, you get mistreated by somebody, you know, and it's just, you know, if everyone could think like what we're talking about tonight, and what I like to say on M3 podcast is we try to think like God. If you do that, if you can look at other people like they're children of God, it will change your perspective on them. Mm-hmm. It will change you and how you treat everyone, including yourself. And, you know, it's a counterintuitive thing, and you're going to get beat up. Expect it, people. You're going to get beat up and take advantage of. But don't let them change you.
That's the most important thing. Trust God. You're only going to fall as look. If you make a mistake and you step off that rope, that tightrope that you have to walk, okay, and you fall off, you're only going to fall as the loving hands of God, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. People have asked me. If there's one truth that I know, people have asked me, what's the most important thing to being a Christian? What is the most important thing of being a Christian? And for a long time, I didn't know what to say, okay? And, you know, I would give these rote answers, love God, you know, blah, 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 blah. Go-tos. You know, here it is. If you can sum it up, that you're risk-worthy. Here's what I mean by risk-worthy. That you will never take offense at someone, and therefore they can take any risk with you that they need to take for themselves.
That's good.
That's powerful.
Once God knows you can do that, He can use you for anything.
He can use you for anything if you can do that.
You're tested and tried. And true.
You are able to be phenomenally capable of letting God use you. Okay?
All you have to do is make the decision and let go.
Yep. Never be offended. Always say you're sorry.
Yeah.
I had a person.
Why is it so hard to say you're sorry, people?
Why
is it so hard? You see it in your kids.
Yeah.
Why can't you just say sorry? What's so hard about that?
Ego.
You're so quick to say you suck.
That ego.
Yeah.
The greatest moment.
I'm better than you.
I think one of the greatest moments in my life was I was so mad at my father. My father and I had a horrible period of time. Horrible. And I came to him at a certain point because I had to do it. Because sometimes you have to get out what's inside of you in a way that you just get rid of it. Mm-hmm. And I asked my father to sit and listen to me. I was 23 years old. And I asked him to listen to me and not say anything. And I gave him all the things that I resented, all the stuff that he did that was wrong, okay?
How did you feel after that?
Oh, I felt terrible. At a certain point, I didn't want to say anymore. And finally, I just ran out of things to say because I was listening to myself and the anger and the frustration and all the things. And I stopped. I just stopped. And he looked at me, he had tears in his eyes. The only time I ever saw my dad cry. And he said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't the father you wanted me to be. And I said to him, and I meant it, and I said, it's okay. I'm sorry I wasn't the son you wanted me to be.
That's all it takes.
And it was a changed moment in our lives between each other.
Are y'all listening to this, Houston?
It was a changed moment. And my father and I had wonderful relationship after that.
After that, yeah. It needed to happen.
Oh. And it happened early enough that I got to do it. As weird as my dad was a strange man. Dad was an unusual guy, you know. And you know, he didn't have a filter between his head and his mouth. So whatever went in his head came out his mouth. And sometimes it was weird, and sometimes it was strange, and sometimes it was embarrassing. And I used to be embarrassed. But you know, after that, it was okay.
Let's talk about the counterintuitiveness since we're running out of time, and take a.
I didn't know how long you wanted to go.
Take a shot of tequila, maybe.
Yeah,
What do you think about that? Because this deserves.
It's funny, like when you said there's times when you stay quiet, and it's funny because that's when I get the comments on like, hey, you didn't say anything on the podcast. And then sometimes I'm like, I didn't have to. It's like today I felt like God was telling me I needed to listen.
Yeah. Okay.
It's only you know, like you were talking, only you will know that. That's why God is intended you to listen.
That's right.
You might not say a lot of things, even though we're an hour and 14 minutes, but I gain a lot of respect, loyalty from you, and not only that, things that...
Oh, well, I appreciate that, but you need to understand that one of the things I discovered was I don't need thanks or recognition to do what is right.
Yeah,
Right.
That's true.
Right.
You don't.
Right.
You do it
Okay.
because you need to do it, and it comes from you.
That's it. It's just, thanks and recognition are not necessary. They're just not.
And that's counterintuitive when we're drinking here, just simply because people that watching, we talk a lot about religion, spirituality, God, and stuff, and they're going, wait, they're taking shots of tequila, guys. I know. I mean, we talked to you talk to these kind of people out there, going, you can't do that. That's something wrong here. No, there's nothing wrong here. As a matter of fact, it's your way of thinking. If you're thinking that.
Yeah.
Well, there are 432 references to alcohol in the Bible. You know
That's
that?
true, yeah.
Only because you told me.
Two have somewhat negative attitude.
Only when you abuse it.
Look.
Right, when you abuse the alcohol.
One of the blessings that the Jews was that you have good wine.
Right.
So look.
And Jesus made wine.
He made wine for a wedding.
For a wedding.
So, it's not the alcohol. It's the attitude you bring to anything.
Yes.
What do we always say on this show?
Attitude.
It brings the camaraderie, the what do you call it when you get together? It brings people together.
We bring it together, yeah.
Yep.
And
Let's have a drink together. It makes you feel okay. You get to taste and feel. Smells first, you
First
got
of all,
the smells.
I mean, that's exactly it. You
gotta
let
enjoy all of it.
You have to have your senses involved, and this has a wonderful aroma, and it's so.
It really does.
To you guys.
Cheers.
salute.
To you,
Cheers.
thank you.
Thank
Salute.
you.
Come on, buddy.
And salute to all of you.
H-Town.
H-Town.
Hey.
It's so
Never get.
There's no burn.
Never.
There's no burn.
We say that so often.
It's unbelievable. It is the smoothest. It is the smoothest drink and I didn't like tequila.
I hated tequila.
Me too. I gave up. I only drank whiskey.
I hated tequila. Hey, everyone's like, you own a tequila company. You hate tequila. What are you doing with your life? I'm like, because you imagine doing tastings all your life and hating that? I mean, what an awful job that would be, right?
That was so good.
Hey, can you believe that? Like how we end up being here, having our own podcast,
That is
and we met
amazing.
at the Galleria location.
Yes.
That's where we met.
I actually went there for the other business, and it happened to be tequila was there, and I was just getting into tequila, but I was there to do, for construction, finish work.
Yeah, because you had the other lady with you. She's still with you? I don't remember.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, Maria.
Yep. See, we're speaking about that. You know how we're scaling businesses, right? I'm looking to scale my business right now. There's no way I could scale my business if I had a revolving door of employees coming in.
Oh
and
no,
out.
Maria's. I mean, you look at the people. They're so dedicated. As a matter of fact,
They're super dedicated.
We had to meet today, in which I had to say to Maria, Maria, you are working way too hard. Yep. I am really worried about that. You have got to stop working so hard.
Yep. She's
Because
more stressed than me.
Because we care about you and we don't want you.
Yeah,
you know.
No.
Right.
And she said, "Thank you. I think I can."
Yeah.
And
Again, it's counterintuitive. It is. You're telling your employee to stop working so hard. But it's about working smart, not hard. I'm not looking for how much you can work. It's about how you work. And if you're not stressed all the time, you're going to get the best results anyway.
Yeah, there was a time that I did a mini podcast by myself, and it was like God telling me, it's like, I was telling the people, I was like, hey man, it's like if I hire somebody and he's so good, not working hard, smart, he came in and he's like, hey, I'm done in 3 hours. And he finished the work that it's supposed to be 8 hours, but he finished at 3. I'm like, good, you can go home. I'm like, and I remember some people like, how? They needs to be working. No, because I couldn't do it.
If I could pick out 3 things a day that really needs to get done and you get done before noon, go home. I don't care.
Yeah, because you
got it done.
You got it done.
But if you're spending 12, 18 hours and you're
And you do
struggling to
shit.
get the 3 done or nothing, that doesn't do it. That doesn't impress me.
No.
So I'm trying to not trying, I have surrounded myself.
We have the most wonderful people.
And it continues.
And more of them are coming.
They're coming in droves. You see
They're
it.
coming.
Yeah.
You've met the 2 women.
Well,
that
he's met more than that. Jose, I mean, you got
Oh,
Maid. That when you come to my office in Greens Point and we go to God's Point, amazing things happen there.
Yeah, we went to God's Point. Yeah.
People come as if they know, like we have a flag, like on the building or something. Like, here we are. We're not doing that, and they're showing up, and it's causing us to. I mean, we have some people here, waiting on us to finish the podcast, so we can go to Carmen Montiel's.
Hopefully she's doing well. Hopefully she's doing well.
And she's a good friend, and she's been on this podcast.
She was in the podcast here. Yeah.
So we're gonna
This
go
was
to her party. her what do they call it? It's a
Victory party.
Victory
Hopefully,
party?
I mean,
Hopefully, victory party.
But even if it's not,
It's okay.
it's okay, because we've gotten to know her. She's a wonderful lady. I really am impressed with her.
She's on her Chamber of Commerce.
And she's going to figure out what to do if she doesn't win this. I mean,
Right.
she's going to, look, she's okay.
Yeah, part of our
we're
group.
all, and
Sometimes I believe that I know the system and the politicians, but sometimes I believe that God is like, hey, if you didn't intend to win, you can still do what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
The things that you wanted to change in here for that ecosystem or that, you can still do it. I'm going to be behind you. You don't have to have this, oh, I'm the mayor. No, you can still do it.
Yeah.
Why give up?
Yep.
When you try so many times, maybe God is like, this
Look,
he don't
each
want
of
you.
us, this is God's, I maintain we're the figment of God's imagination, okay? And he has in his head this play. This is all a play, okay? And for the period of time that we're on the stage, we have a role to play. It may be a major role. It might be a minor role. But if I can discover what that role is, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be content. I'm going to be fulfilled with the role that is given to me by God to play on that. And I can ad lib, and I'll probably screw it up if I ad lib. Okay? If you stick to the script, the likelihood is you're going to do a lot better and you're going to like what you're doing.
That's right.
Okay?
I encourage everyone out there listening, and we're getting to the end of this thing, and I'll let you have the last words, Jesus. This is your platform.
Yeah,
but,
man.
I need some comments from you in the comments section. If you got questions about how to scale, I mean, there's lots of mentors out there, consultants, but really, God, I didn't need. I had a lot of consultants. I had a lot of advice and mentors, and they didn't help you as much as what's in here and where God sends you, and how and the people you surround yourself with.
Give me an idea. Maybe one of these days, one of these Tuesdays, me and you can mentor 2 other people that barely starting their business.
Oh, we are. Greens Point's going to be big on that one, right?
Yeah.
With the kids, especially in the area of Greens Point, through God's Point. I know they call it God's Point.
Because I know we do the podcast and stuff with everything H-Town, but imagine having that little moment of change where like, hey, today we brought 2 people. One starting the taco truck and the other one starting their selling shoes.
This will be the first place they will come to give their testimony on what you're saying. We will mentor the kids to get to that point. So they can scale their own businesses, and it's going to come on to H-Town.
H-Town Unplugged, yeah, because that's where the platform is.
See, I wish we had this when I was at Trinity, because we had a business that trained the street people how to get involved in doing what they need to do. And several of them went on and started their own business. Off the street.
Yeah.
Off the street.
Off the street.
That's
They had
good.
been on the street at the bottom of the level. And they went and eventually started their own business.
You can do this.
You can do this. It's just finding the right people who surround it. We're right here. We
can help.
We can put time. We can be here. I had a lot of people coming in here and sit down and tequila, and then at the end of the day, when we finish talking, they're like, "You have so much knowledge."
Come on to the podcast.
And they ask me, "How do you have all this knowledge?" I'm like, I listen.
Yeah.
I go to a lot of. I have gone to a lot of what's called those masterminds. Listen to other multimillionaires and take notes, and just kind of feed it back to me, and God's feeding me in a way that it needs to go. And then I just, instead of me like people telling me you should be charging for your time, I'm like, nah, I'm just want to give it to them.
And even more, like what you're talking about, I've gone to those things too, mentor those programs. It gave me a lot of skill and insight and background foundation to build off of that I think God says, yeah, you keep going. I'm going to be able to use you one day.
Yeah.
But get out of your way. You know, get out of your way, but there's a timing is what I'm trying to say with God. He's not going to send you into the battle unprepared.
Oh, no.
He's not going to send you out there without a sword and a shield. You got to go get that sword. You got to get that shield. You got to get these things so he can use you to the best of how you allow him. Yeah. Honestly, he's a gentleman, like you say.
I've always maintained that God's a gentleman.
So he's not going to force it on you. And he didn't on me. He's not. And the funny thing is, be careful what you pray for, because you might get what you want. Yes. I prayed for my marriage to be fixed, and he fixed it. It wasn't what I thought how he'd fix it.
Yeah.
But let's just say I'm a single man, single father.
Single father, yes.
Doing more. Let me just say I get more in a year done than I used to do on 10 years by myself. It's like that now. Am I correct?
And his relationship with his children is fabulous.
It's the best.
That's good.
It's uninterrupted. It's pure. It's 100% true.
He takes off his time from work.
That's good.
That he wouldn't have done before.
Absolutely. Because I was thinking, my kids are being taken care of by their mom. That's good.
So he takes off from his work to be with his kids.
But they need a father. The kids need a father.
Yeah.
Oh, more than you know. All kids need their father.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
They should never have been taken from me.
That's a talk y'all need to do.
We will.
We will, because we both are single fathers.
You need to do that.
They were taking them from me. Not. It wasn't. Listen, I didn't do anything wrong with them at all.
Yeah.
It was between the adults.
The adults, yeah.
No, you got it with the judge that was.
The
judge. You don't have to. You don't have to
there
deal with
it is.
So,
You nailed it. But anyway, we digress. That's another episode.
Yeah.
It is an episode y'all need to do.
We will do that.
Oh, we need to do that because
there's a lot of people out there who are struggling with this.
Going through exactly that.
And particularly the men.
Yes.
I will tell you, particularly the men. Okay? So, let's close it.
Let's close it.
Man, I'm like.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, I'm thankful,
Thank you
grateful,
so much.
and I'm like so thankful, grateful for what it's the show and everything is growing, and now we're gonna take it live to the restaurants like a pretty much.
I can't wait for that.
It's like I foresee it.
Yes.
Like I talked to Giovanni, and he's all excited, and I'm like, Dad, I feel like you're more excited than me, and this is what I love doing. God put me to use my gift and use the power of my voice in the camera. It doesn't matter if I only have one person watching, but he's like, it's okay. If you keep on doing it consistent, you're not giving up. And like you said.
Well, I was going to say, then say thank you to you who are there.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at a camera. I have no idea. Thank you for being here.
Oh, yeah. And thank you for everybody that is out there watching us and supporting and being like, hey, and I know haters that they're not going to last. Oh, man, yeah, I'm praying for them as well.
Absolutely.
And there's more things coming. Like I said, that sometimes I don't even believe myself. I just sit down over there and work, and I'm like, wow. But God knows why he's putting this, because we're ready. If not, he would not
That's it.
Giving
That's
it to
exactly
us.
right. That's exactly right.
Thank you.
Okay,
100%.
finish up with a prayer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord, for being with us. Thank you for all that you have given to us. May we go forth from this place, renewed with the sense of the dedication that we must have to serve you, and that in serving you, we serve all those who are in need. So give us strength, give us courage, give us wisdom, give those who are with us by camera and on the podcast from being afraid.
Yes.
Remove the fear, give them strength, give them courage, that they may go forth and be what they want to be in their hearts. Amen.
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 Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. See ya.
Take care. Have a
Take
good night.
care. We
H-Town.
won't see you next Tuesday because we'll be at Aspire. But guess what? We'll do a live from over there.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
probably find some.
Okay.
Here's your tequila
We'll
back.
find
And I'm
some
just
people.
hot as all get
Right.
out.
That's how we. Somebody probably put the air while we were here. It was probably Rio.